Um, so in my last videos, you saw me stepping outside and the nasty things that I have to experience. Parents bringing their kids, trying to have their kids, the babies, be seen by me so they can do the pedophilia things. And with me, they'll try their best to make me subscribe. It's like, no, you feel like that when you're a kid. Remember what you did as a kid. That's you when you're. And I'm like, first of all, I know you guys manipulate people, and I'm not a child. So for you to try to make me think, what we're doing, we're mapping, and that's the way that we're mapping it to you when you're a kid. Of course, I know this reality that these people actually force people to think in this disturbing pedophilia way. It's a tactic they've been doing for a long time. And for me, they try to talk about me as a child. Like, no, and they try to make me feel like a feeling that you like. Would you feel like that as a kid? And then go into my memories. Actually, not only manipulate my memories as a child, but then go into like the things they try to change into something else. Because especially like there's one specific baby that try, like, you see, remember like when you're back a kid, when you're a kid, remember that? They try to make me be like, oh no, this is true, this is real, this is fake. No, they forced me to experience these nasty things. And I'll make a video specifically about this baby. It's so sad. It's her mother, and it just, and of course, for me, they try to create a way to think about the in a sexual way, get stimulations. While I was in the elevator, I just filmed it because I was gonna do this thing where I made a video, which if you go in my last video, you'll see what I'm talking about. And I went early in the morning for the purpose of like, I don't want to see any kids around me. So I go early, but they bring their kids as early as possible. Because they know the reality. It's like they do this nasty pedophilia type of torture and they want me to subscribe to it. And it's funny, they're like, oh, you abuse. They try to talk about, there's something stupid I've done. I've talked about it as a kid, 8th grade. This dumb kid doing something stupid. But the anger I do have of the reality of what they do to children. And the thing in their mind, I'm not going to associate them with being involved in a program that tortures children. And they're making mistakes. I don't want to get aggressive at all. These bottom feeders are just nothingness. But I know what they involved. I know this mother holding her child is in a program that where they torture babies as young as her baby. And she's to think I'm gonna let her think that I don't know what you guys not only do to this to babies, but how you manipulate people in these pedophilia ways. Try to say, no, we mapped it to you when you were a kid. Grown ass. But look at me, I'm even older than the mother. Try to talk about, imagine they talk about you when you were like 8th grade. That's how you think. It's stupidity. Of course I know it's not true. You make me think like that. And then to talk about me as a kid. When you are here doing this in the program that does these horrible things to babies, we're talking about sexual torture. And this fucking trash think that I'm somehow going to distance them from that. And so I need to remember, and the only time I feel aggression is when they talk about the horrible things they do to the most vulnerable. That's when it just breaks me down. Like when I feel I can get to the aggression. But with me, there's people who think because of the gender or because the way that I'm going to escape from the reality that these people are in the same program where they are here killing and torturing babies, and the way they torture them, and to try to interrupt that and try to make themselves, oh my gosh, to me, it's just like, I almost feel like I need to take action for all these kids that you guys have done horrible things to. But it will be a mistake. I don't want to do that. But this is how I see them for. Their mothers and fathers and that makes it even worse. You have kids yourself. Forget about even forcing people to think in these nasty ways, where you say we mapped it to you forget about that. The fact that you torture, this program does horrible things to babies while you are here, and then adding the fact that these entities where they contract these bottom fears, this bunch of pedophiles in these agencies. No, there's too much for me to just like maintain calmness at times. And there was this next door neighbor. She's just a bottom feeder, pure trash. Like bottom feeders are there. In her mind, at one point, she was even dressed in camouflage, thinking she was like in a war. This is a child like trash that I look at her as a child. But she was trying to make noise campaign because I was listening to the torture of what they've done to kids, right? These horrible things they do to babies. And she was trying to interrupt me from thinking about what they do to kids. She wanted to stop me hearing and listening to how horrible they are to children and try to make me think, but remember what you did as a kid. As I'm hearing a 7-year-old autistic kid being suffocated. What do you think I can do? What do you think I can imagine? Like, when somebody is involved in a program that can do these horrible things to babies, what do you think? I heard they get my dick cut in pieces. Excuse my language. They have these things where they want me to somehow like live in this fantasy where I should be like, oh my gosh, what I did that as a kid in 8th grade, as a dumb kid, I did something stupid to myself. And forget that these people are torturing kids as young as 3 years old, 3 weeks old. And the entities contracting this trash are filled with pedophiles. And they force men and women to think about children in these disgusting ways. To think about children in these disgusting ways, where they're like, oh no, we just mapped it to you when you were a kid, you're retarded. First of all, can you imagine you're a grown man or woman and some trash in front of you that's working in a program that tortured children? It's like, no, we're just making you think the way you were thinking when you were a kid. You know, that will make you feel aggressive. Oh no, but think about, remember when you were in 8th grade, what you did to yourself? And that you just got done listening to what they do to kids? The torture? One woman talked about how a 7-year-old was just screaming in pain because she's being tortured. I would have died. Now they keep telling me how I should kill myself. And listen, if I end up killing myself, if this happens, understand it's not me. Understand that I've been tortured to that point. These people doing this thing to me, these people are more suicidal than me. If I'm being tortured to that point, that's been just, I was just killed. I didn't kill myself, I was just killed. That's different. Some of this trash doing this thing to me, some of them will kill themselves. Some already have. So for me, I'm like, while I'm still alive, while I'm able to do this, I will continuously see you for the low-life trash that you are. Coward trash that are capable to dare to torture children. And whatever ways you want me to think about this, me as a kid, when I know what you guys do to children, and I know how you manipulate people to think in this disgusting way, which they say, no, that's how you use. That's how I used to think. That's why I was like, no, a kid can do stupid thing. I wasn't thinking like that, but I know you can manipulate my memories as a childhood. But now it's not even that my childhood memory being manipulated. Now it's like my adulthood. Like you try to bring up a moment where there was a kid that talked about it many times, and they try to be like, oh, but now make me have a reaction I wasn't feeling at the moment, stimulation that I wasn't feeling at the moment, but now I'm forced to feel too much. I'm like, listen, you see the reality? Me, if I get tortured, if I, this is part of the torture. Did you map these people raping children in the CIA? No, you didn't map that. Did you map these pedophiles downloading child porn on government devices? You mapped that. Oh, you didn't map them when they were like kids? Oh, okay. It's weird, huh? See how this trash are bottom feeders. Trash who torture women and children and force men and women to think about kids in a sexual way. They do the pedophilia type of torture. It ain't no fucking mapping. It's just manipulations. And then try to make you believe that, no, that's how you felt. To the point where that's how you felt when you were a kid. Can you imagine? And they think they drop keys, I'm going to be like, oh, let me forget about the way you torture children. Let me forget about how you do these horrible things to children, how you force men and women to think about children. Oh, no, it's me, a kid in 8th grade. Forget about you involved in a program that tortured kids 3-week-old. You try to interrupt that. For me, I will never let them escape. Immediately when I see them, it's just like isolation right now, there's battles. I see people in person, woo, all the things I remember they do to people. All of that, wow, it comes in my brain, boom. It's just like I see them, I just imagine them doing all these horrible things to women with their children. I can see them involved in these horrible things. Everything that before in my mind was, oh, but did we map that? Did you feel like that when you were a kid, a little bit like that? But do you remember what you did as a kid? Like this, I remember the 3-year-old kid that's being tortured sexually by these low lives. I think about all the women begging for help with their kids. I'm listening to this grown woman who's talking about they forced me to get a program of perversion aimed toward children. This person have children herself. The nasty pedophilia dreams, the way they make me look at babies is like, now we mapped it to you when you were a kid, you trash us. When I know this pedophiles are here downloading child porn on the government devices. This fucking trash are contracted by these low lives. I can never let them live the fantasy. Whatever goes in my brain, trust me, in isolation mode, yes. When I see them in person, I remember these people are working for pedos, they torture children, they do horrible things. They're babies, they're showing. These babies, they will torture their babies. Well, they want me to get this pedophilia type of reactions and be like, now we mapped it when you were a kid. Fucking trash. Are they mapping that to the CIA agent raping the children? Trash.